Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in today. Today we're going to install the Horsepower Inc. V2 air cleaner along with the external breather hose. As you know, on my previous video, I purchased the ST, and it did come with a Trask Performance Assault exhaust on it. However, it did not have an air cleaner on it. It had the stock cleaner that it came from the factory. So we're going to be swapping that out along with adding some internal breathers on it. And the main reason I wanted to put the external breathers on this particular build itself is because my street bob that I have has the Trask air cleaner on it, but it doesn't have external breathers. And one of the things that I have noticed, and I've seen on prior videos as well, is that the inside of the intake becomes basically caked with vapors from the fuel itself. So instead of actually having it externally disperse, it attributes to carburetor buildup on the butterfly internally, and also on the clear window that the Trask intake has. So I'm opting to go a different route just to see if that's going to clean up a little bit. And I've also read that it kind of improves the overall performance of it because the vapors are externally going outside. I'm not sure if it gains anymore. I don't think it does, but it does improve some of the efficiencies of the air cleaner itself. I did opt to go with Horsepower Inc. Just because you know, feedback on this particular air filter, it has a velocity stack built into it. So I'm excited about that, and the overall performance, I think it outperforms the Trask air cleaner itself. And then also, I did purchase the HPI exhaust that I'm waiting for. Right now, I think they're back ordered for about 8 to 10 weeks or so. So I'm figuring probably within 12 weeks I should have it. But I wanted to get the air cleaner on this now just to get that side of it complete. I will be also adding a DynoJet VP4 tuner on it. That's a stock mount from Fuel Moto that they're going to send me. That will complement the exhaust that's currently on the bike along with the air cleaner. Because when I purchased the bike, it didn't have a tune, and I was kind of actually surprised that supposedly the previous owner of this had Harley add the exhaust on it without putting any kind of, you know, Screaming Eagle tuner on it or whatsoever. So it's running without any kind of tune on it, which I don't like because it's obviously running hot, right? It's running a lot leaner than it's supposed to. So we're going to put the air cleaner on it. I'm still waiting for the DynoJet to arrive. I think it's supposed to come in the next few days. So once that's here, I'll go ahead and flash the ECM. And I'll make another video on that as well, because I wanted to go the DynoJet route just because of the fact that I was running ThunderMax high band O2 sensors on my other bike. And from what I've been reading and talking to the tuner here, the DynoJet has a lot more flexibility into it because the ultimate goal on this particular build on the ST is to put a big bore kit on it. So I'm still trying to figure out which one to go with, but it will be getting a big bore kit. So the DynoJet, from my understanding, has a lot more resources, technical support. It actually does have auto tune feature now, which I'm surprised it does on a regular closed loop system, which is pretty exciting. So I'm happy about that. So yeah, I'll talk a little bit about that on my next video once I get that, just to kind of do a comparison. It's also a mobile app, which I like, so it's at your fingertips if you need to change anything or update, opposed to the ThunderMax. I have no issues with the ThunderMax, don't get me wrong. My tuner dialed it in. It works flawlessly. I like it. It has auto tune feature prior to get a dyno tune. So yeah, Thunder Max is definitely an option if you guys want to go that route as well. But I'm gonna go the dyno jet route on this particular build to kind of mix it up a little bit. So all right, so here's the kit. So the V2, I think it's called, from Horsepower Inc. There's a couple different options that come with it as far as the cover. They got, I think, maybe 6 different types of covers that you can purchase it with. This one obviously is the straight black itself. Comes with a high flow filter on it already. Everything comes pre-assembled. So I did watch their YouTube video on getting it installed, and it's pretty straightforward. So everything comes pre-assembled with the kit. So you basically just need to take everything apart and reassemble it back on the bike. But the billet machining on this is pretty incredible. They did a really nice job on it. Everything's really nice, anodized black. One thing I noticed off the bat is they have these, I think they're magnetic fill plates, and they're made out of excuse me, they're not magnetic. They're made out of aluminum, but they're actually held by the filter, so they cover the bolts once you screw it on. So I like that, and I like the fact that you can actually take this cover completely off, and if you want to switch it up, if you want to change it a different color, have it powder coated or anodized, or they have different covers that have different types of writing on them. You can choose that as well. But yeah, it's just a 3-piece bolt design. So this pops off, the filter element is removable, and then you have your attachment points that go on the throttle body itself, and we'll walk through that here in a second. I'll show you guys how that's done. And then this kit they sell separately. This is their external breather hose kit. So it does come with the gasket. I'm assuming they just threw in the breather hose kit in addition, because I bought everything at once, but this gasket obviously comes on the intake itself, and then the external breather hose. Now the purpose of this, as I mentioned before, is to basically release or move the vapors that are coming from the fuel outside of the throttle body itself. So instead of having it all mixed in here and caking and gumming up the filter element, they utilize these external vents, right, that plug into the breather hose, and then you drop it back underneath the cylinder down to the bottom for the external exhaust itself. So we'll put these on along with the kit just to make sure everything goes together correctly. I'm assuming it will, and I'll walk you guys through here. But yeah, definitely, you know, the machining on this stuff is really nice. Again, I chose this just to mix it up a little bit. I've been reading some reviews on this particular air cleaner that's flowing, I think, 430 CFMs. And there's not a lot of folks that actually have the measurements of the CFM listed on their particular product. And one of the reasons too is not knowing what you're flowing, right, is having that information before buying it. So that obviously gives you a baseline of what this particular intake should perform. So yeah, I'm super excited about it. I think it's going to look clean. Obviously we went with black. We can change that up again if we need to down the road. So we'll be back here in a second and start getting this old intake pulled off and the new one put on. All right, so I think we only need a couple tools here for this. So T45 bit for the main bolts, and then a 3/16 for the Allen keys to take the filter element off on the stock one. So let's pull that off first. Man, they sure do love to use glue Loctite out of the factory. Jesus. Get some of this out of the intake here. Let's see, so I forgot if it's the easy take off first or the big ones, but let's find out here. I think it all same assembly. Alright, so that housing's off. It's a sore thumb too. So this is basically, once you get the cover off of it for the intake, you're not going to utilize that again. You'll just add the HPI stuff the way it is right here. These two bolts, this is where your breathers for your external side are going to go. So we'll add that here in a second. Just want to make sure you got this all cleaned up before you start putting stuff together. Alright, so this is how everything looks taken apart, disassembled. So this is for your external breather hose kit. You have these standoffs that we'll put in first. There's an O-ring that goes on the inside of it, and then it's a 9/16 bit. Snug those up. The breather relief bungs will go on these standoffs, and then we'll put the intake plate on it, and then we'll start putting everything together. So very simple design, very clean. I haven't seen many that are, you know, this simple and clean. Everything goes in its, you know, correct place. This is the velocity stack that I mentioned before, that's magnetized. So you basically drop this in, and I'll show you here in a second. You drop it in and twist it to lock it in place. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, everything so far looks really nice, machined, and we'll start putting this back together. All right, so here are the standoff for the external breather kit. So these go on first. As I mentioned, just make sure you have the O-ring set in here. There's 4 O-rings that come with it. The smaller one goes on the standoff plate itself, and we'll fit those in here in a second. Just want to make sure you have a little oil on these, just so it has some lubrication when putting it on. You can use pre-assembly lube, or I just use some standard oil. And again, this is a 9/16 machined nut in there. And these just go, there's no torque. From the video from HPI, they just mentioned just snug them up, so that's what we'll do. Yeah, it doesn't, not a lot in there. And you know what? I totally forgot to put red Loctite on these. My bad. Because that's what it calls for. I apologize about that. So let's pull these off real quick. Put some red Loctite on. So red is used because from the video is if you do decide to take off the air intake plate itself, if you use blue on these, then everything's going to be spinning to take off, and we don't want that, right? So we want to use red Loctite on the standoffs, and then it's going to be blue for the nuts when they're threaded in, and then these for the throttle body will be blue as well. So everything else I believe is blue. I'll double check. Yeah, thank God I remembered that, because that wouldn't have been good. Just snug them up so they're nice and snug. Nothing too crazy. And then here are the external lines, or bungs that we actually put on. So you want to make sure that the hole itself, because there's holes on the standoffs, right, that they match. So they really can only go on one way, but just make sure that the relief hole, if you can see that in there, is actually facing the engine itself. And these go on, I guess, a little bit snug, so we'll see here in a second. Okay, and then make sure that this is pointing down. That those went in nice. And then next we are going to put on the backing plate. As I mentioned, it comes with the gasket. And let's just make sure that we get this all prepped first here. So on the Allens, we're going to put blue Loctite on these guys as well. All right. So we can get this started now. Probably want to make sure you got at least 2 bolts in here so you can line up the gasket correctly. That way there's no misalignment.
And then these bolts are going to be snugged up as well, so nothing too crazy. Again, just make sure you got blue Loctite on these guys. And there should be some kind of play because we want to make sure the 9/32 bolt, you can put those in as well, which are these guys. And these are going to be blue Loctite as well. And I also read that some people have taken these off, which you don't. You want to leave these on because these come from the factory already pre-assembled, these standoffs that the filter element goes on in the backing plate. Don't take these off because then you're going to have a pain in the ass. You're going to gouge everything up. So these come as they are. Let's see here. Again, just snug them up. So the throttle body is first. Those bolts get cinched down first. And then we'll do these guys. Excuse me, there's 7/32, not 9/32, 7/32 bolts. So that looks good. Next, we are going to put on the velocity stack, which, as I mentioned before, it's magnetized and it's locked in place with these two grooves. So there's a groove on the backing plate that you line up the stack with. I'm going to put some oil around here too, just to make sure it's all nice and lubed up. So it says push and turn left to remove, just to show you guys. So push out and this pops out, and then to put it back in place, looks like there's some tension and it just switches over. And then that actually holds in place with magnets, so there's no way for it to shift around in there unless you actually press it in and then move it to the left. So just be cautious of that. Don't worry that this is going to move inside once it's all put together, because that's what the magnets are for, and that little spring retention on it, just to make sure it doesn't move around, which I like. The other design is a little bit different on the Trask. Just clean this up a little bit. This is actually really surprisingly easy to put together. I'm pretty impressed with the design of this. All right, so next we are going to put on the filter element and the backing plate. And then these are the backfill plates that actually I mentioned close off the 7/32. bolts. And then the filter, I don't know if you can see in the video, basically this lip around here holds that backing plate from moving around once it's all put together. So that's really slick design. I like that. Usually on these, if you see on the filters, there's a area where they are joined together. I tend to keep this towards the bottom just so you can't see it. Cleans it up a little bit. That way it looks the best. Let's see, here's the backing plate. So there's 3 bolts on here. We're gonna blue Loctite those as well. Let me get some on here. Man, I'm really impressed by this kit so far. I don't know what it is, but the machine quality work on it, the way it's simplified opposed to some of the other kits I've seen out there, they did a really good job. I'm pretty happy with it. It's a little bit pricey, but I think it's worth it. All right, so this is a little tricky here because you want to make sure it's all nice and even. And then some people actually run this open too. I think they have maybe a black one that you can run open. That might be a cool look too. Just to have the billet exposed. I like that idea. And I just noticed, actually just turning this, you can actually go farther. I think it bottoms out on the back end, which I think is by design, right? That you can't squish the filter more than it's designed for. So these nuts actually just go in. They're flush, but once you get down to where the standoffs be in the backside, they won't go any further, so they'll just bottom out. Let's just clean that up a little bit, and then we'll put the cover on it. And the cover itself, I did notice that there's a Allen key in here, which is pretty cool too. So if for some reason, because we're going to put blue Loctite on this guy as well, for some reason, if you're pulling this off and this Allen key gets stuck, you can take it out easily. I'm assuming it's keyed on the other side as well. That's my thought. So let's just put some blue Loctite on that guy. And here you just want to make sure that you line it up accordingly and it doesn't scrape the back of it. And then once you got the threads in there, you can start screwing it in. You don't want to double up on the thread by accident. So very slow. You can see it spinning on. And then what the video says is once it gets to the bottom, you just want to make sure, give it a little extra turn. Yeah, that's good. So that's it. I mean, it's a short short process, pretty straightforward. Nothing really to it. They definitely designed it really nice. We'll just add the hoses on here for the breathers and then drop that. You run it through the cylinder towards the shift side, and then back down towards the shifter linkage on the inside, so it drops down behind the case. And that's the best way, I guess, to do it. So we'll finish that up, button it off, and wrap this guy up. Well, that's going to be a wrap for this one. Surprised it didn't take that long to put in. I think overall, from start to finish, about 30 minutes maybe, just to take the stock breather off and put the HPI V2 on, along with the external breather hoses. So I'm pretty happy overall. As I mentioned before, kind of throughout the video, very impressed by the quality and finishing work on the air cleaner itself from HPI, along with the external breather hoses. I think they did a phenomenal job. Everything went together really well. Pretty straightforward install, no hiccups. They don't provide any instructions, which you know, not surprised, but there's, you know, tons of videos out there from HPI directly, or folks that are installing this particular air cleaner along with some of their other products. So pretty straightforward install. I think you could actually probably get away with it, not even looking at their video, and just kind of tackle it on your own. But yeah, overall, very impressed with the air cleaner itself. Again, I got the bike with the Trask exhaust on it. It did not have a air cleaner on it, had the stock one. So now I'm just waiting for the DynoJet tuner to come in, and I'll flash the ECM and get the map file on it that will allow for both the new air cleaner and the exhaust to run perfectly. So I'm excited about that. Should have that here in the next couple days. But yeah, again, on the external breather hoses, you just run it down right at the bottom of the cylinder head, and then run it through to the shift side, and then down right in front of the shift linkage. There's going to be a opening in your bottom portion of the engine, along with the clutch assembly side. You just drop that in there and just make sure that the lines aren't sticking out too much. If they are, you can just cut those, but I didn't have to do any kind of trimming, so that went all together fine. But yeah, super excited about it. I don't think it's going to sound any differently. Maybe a little bit more noise on shutdown, but yeah, I think the exhaust overpowers itself for the sucking in of the air itself. Again, thanks for tuning in. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are on the air cleaner. Let me know what other videos you guys want to see. I have a couple more lined up, got some parts on order. I think next video I'm going to be doing the replacement of the risers. So the bike did come with 6.5 pullbacks. I'm going to a 9.5 pullback from Trask, and then the medium bend. I'm not going to expose which bars I went with, but I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised with that. It's a little bit different spin on them. I haven't seen a lot of bikes running them, so I'm super excited about that. I think it's going to be a nice complement to the overall build. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Thanks for tuning in as always. Really appreciate you guys viewing. It helps out the channel. Like and subscribe if you haven't. And hopefully you guys will be back on the next one. We'll catch you guys later.